And we are live. People often ask me, hey, Barry, why do you spend that 5 minutes of intro music? We just want you to get right to the show. There's a purpose behind that. And that purpose is, people always are late. If you tell them 5:30, they show up at 5:35. You tell them 5 o'clock, they show up at 5:05. And they're never on time. And then you get people who say, okay, I'm just going to hold right now. We're going to wait for a few more people to arrive. Meanwhile, the people who got there early are sitting around going, and then you get the other notice where they say, hey, we're gonna hold for 5 more minutes for people to get on. Nah, not here. It's 5:30. I got a 4 or 5 minute intro, and then we're going. I'm not waiting. I'm going. Hey, good day out there today. Nice and sunny. Wife went to the beach. Good beach day for her. She's really enjoying her time outside now. Basically, we're ex-corona bros, corona-ites, freed from corona refugees, if you might want to say. We're not just dealing with it anymore after what happened yesterday. I don't know who to believe except myself and my wife, and we're doing really well. We've been doing really well for the last 4-5 months. Not worried about the Rona. Everybody else is running around terrified of the Rona. Everybody's getting sick. Everybody's being infected. Blood being taken, nasal swabs, all that kind of stuff. And then when you find out you got the Rona, then you get sick. I've heard of people who were doing fine. No problem. Up every day, going fishing, getting on a boat. Then they get the death sentence. Then they find out they've been infected with the Rona. And they just, now you think there was a fever before? Now they go home and sweat. Now they got to wait for like 14 days and hope they don't die. Or that they don't need to run to the hospital and get a ventilator. It's almost psychosomatic to some people. And I know some people are going to say, Barry, you're just denying science. Well, it's hard to believe it when the science is all screwed up. That's the problem we're seeing. The science doesn't make any sense because there isn't any science. Until somebody can truthfully answer the question, what's the difference between this and that, and how is a 1% or less death rate causing mass hysteria other than because it's pumped out through the media time and time and time again? When we have a state of 21 million and there's just basically, you can count the number of people who succumb daily, and it's just every day in your face, and it makes it hard to live, and I understand that. So my name is Barry Cunningham. If you're not aware yet, first time listener, first time viewer, I am a real estate investor and burgeoning developer here in South Florida, and I got to tell you right now, it's a great time to jump into the real estate market. Don't listen to the naysayers. Well, actually, please listen to the naysayers. The more you listen to the naysayers, the more food on the table there is for the rest of us. As Warren Buffett said, the time to be greedy is when others are fearful. The time to make money is when blood is running through the street. The time to get profit is when everybody else is running around like their heads cut off. And that's what we see right now. We see the overhyped paranoia, the overhyped hysteria, 24/7 on the news channels. There is no other entertainment. You can't go see a football game or a baseball game or a basketball game. There's no concerts. There's no festivals. There's not even really any new movies. All you got is Netflix and chill. That's pretty much it. Turn on HBO, see something you've seen 4 or 5 times, watch it over again. Or the alternative is watch the ever doomsaying news. And because people have nothing to do, they're being programmed like lab rats. Absolutely programmed like lab rats. So unless you take the effort to move beyond and do something, then you're going to just get caught in that hamster wheel and just keep running around dealing with the same crap. I saw Clay Travis from Outkick, who's going to be massive, especially because ESPN is off the charts. He posted that his dad went from 250 pounds to 199 simply because he unplugged and started taking care of himself. Something I should have done probably 4 months ago as well. There's still time. There's still time because they're going to push this until the election. That's no doubt. It's July, so if it's time to go on a diet, come with me. We're going to start pumping the iron again, getting ready, doing some walks and bicycle riding, swimming for those who swim. You got 4 more months of this. Start doing something about it. And no doubt, there will be 4 more months of this, at least. They cannot let it go. The stakes are way too high, and you are a pendulum watcher. At this time, you have to understand that you can't go to a football game. You can't go to a baseball game. You can only go to the grocery store. You got to wear the mask everywhere you go. You're going to die if you don't wear the mask. I got a question. So when you're done wearing these masks, you have to discard them. Where are you putting them? Just in the garbage, or is it hazmat material? Because, we're all breathing and spitting in them. So if you have the Rona, then what are you doing? Are you just throwing a disease in the garbage can so the garbage man can pick it up? So now it's going to be transferred to different garbage men across the county or whatever? It doesn't make any sense. And now kids who have basically no chance of getting sick. 0 chance of getting sick. Maybe 0.045% of getting sick. They can't go to school. They can't do anything. They got to stay home and do it online. So mom and dad, or one of the two, can't work because they got to stay home and take care of the knuckleheads, because knuckleheads can't go to school because the teachers are afraid that, something may happen before November 3rd, which would cause this to break wide open, and then all of the BS spills out. Can't have that. Got to keep you locked down. Got to keep you in place. Got to keep you where you are. Got to keep you afraid. Got to keep you indoctrinated, which is fine. I'm going to say it every single day. Warren Buffett has said it. The time to buy real estate, the time to get involved in the real estate business and be greedy about it is when others are fearful. This has been you couldn't have drawn up a scenario better for real estate. You just couldn't have. Mortgage rates are like 0. Even hard money is only 8 and 9%. You can't get cheaper money right now. Investors are calling me. And by the way, if you're an investor and you need to make a call, give me a call. I can help you get a return of 8 to 11% on your money. Better than the banks, better than a CD, less volatile than the stock market. Although that's been doing pretty well lately. Been doing pretty good. So, I can look at these numbers here, but do we believe them? Is there anything in regards to these charts that we really want to see? There's the big 15,000 cases day, and there was the 12,000 case day, and here's another 10,000 case day. But can we put any credence in this stuff? Nobody's dying. So again, if you believe these front end numbers, then you also have to believe these back end numbers. And these back end numbers, they get adjusted. I think yesterday when we were talking, it was about 10, and so another whopping 30 people in a state of 21 million have succumbed. And as of right now, 17 people in the entire state of Florida. I bet you more people got bit by alligators in the last 24 hours. It's crazy, but we're closing down everything. We've got people running scared because they may be one of the 17 out of the 21 million that end up succumbing to the coronavirus. Make sense to you? Is that something you want to turn your life upside down for? Is because you might be the one who gets something that's basically you're more likely to get struck by lightning. You're more likely to win the lottery than to win the corona, than to be struck and dead by the coronavirus. And so then yesterday when we saw all this information come out, which incidentally not a lot of people want to talk about, not a lot of people out there in the news wanted to talk about it. It got actually worse as things progressed through the day and more data was found out. They found out that over 300 labs in the state of Florida submitted data that said that they had a 98 plus positivity rate for all the tests they did. They didn't even record the negative test results. So can we even believe this stuff at this point? Is it worth even talking to you about that from a real estate perspective? Just one. There's one reason why. People are afraid. And the people I'm talking to on a daily basis and the offers I'm putting out, they're terrified. And there's a wave coming that you have to be cognizant of. If not, you're just denying the science. Worse than science, you're denying the numbers. You're denying math. So let's talk about that. For a couple months now, Governor DeSantis has renewed the moratorium on evictions. And people took a deep breath. But what's next? And again, now we're back to the death watch. The bell is tolling. On August 2nd, it's going to expire. And it's just getting worse. My prediction is, I don't know how he can't extend it, but then again, I don't know how he can extend it. How is it fair to landlords and property management companies and owners who, on their side, have to make payments as well? But at the same time, one of the things that we saw, and we're seeing and more in some of these newspapers, is they're asking for the Florida evictions and foreclosures to have more of a permanent solution. Obviously, a $1,200 stimulus check isn't a solution. In fact, it's not even a Band-Aid. It's not even a piece of gauze on a bloody wound. It's just nothing. It really is nothing. And so they're wondering, what's going to happen. There's still over 2 million people in the state of Florida who are unemployed, many of whom are unable to pay their rent and mortgages. 2 million. And so this was the line I took a strong look at, which I'm going to bring to your attention. And it says, waiting too long to act. Remember the last time he waited till the day before, and the resulting deluge of evictions will further swamp the economy. Tsunami. It's coming. It's inevitable. Because even if he gives a moratorium for another month or two, whatever, the meter is still cooking. Tolling, however you want to say. It's still running. It's still adding up. Can't deny the math. If you didn't pay in April or May or June or July and August and September, there's no way you're going to catch up. It's not going to happen. Not unless you run down to 7-Eleven, buy a ticket, and end up hitting the lottery. And if that's the case, you're not going to be renting anymore anyway. You're out of here. So you've got newspapers asking right now, hey, what's the permanent solution? There is no permanent solution. You have to either fix this or let the financial system run its course. There's no middle ground. I'm going to show you something here. Okay, just to give you an idea. This was from June. And so in June, CNBC said 30% of Americans missed their housing payments. 30%. 30%. Just let that sink in. Again, this is math. If you believe the other numbers, you got to believe these numbers. And 30% of people missed their payment. Then it went to July. This is July's number. 32% of U.S. households missed their July housing payments. A third of everybody who has a housing bill did not make their payments in July. Just comprehend that. Look at your neighborhood. Look around and count 10 houses, and then three of those houses didn't make a payment. I don't think people are letting that sink in. If you live in a development of 100 houses, 30 of them are in trouble. What was it like during the foreclosure crisis in the early 2000s, 2005, 2006? Maybe 5, 10%, 12% of mortgages were being defaulted on. You got 3 times that right now. And the only reason why you're not seeing a default is because the people can't run into court and drop the papers. People think that the backlog right now, and they hear 500 or 1,000 in this county or whatever, those are evictions that they already had adjudicated, that they're just waiting to run out and post on people. You have to understand that the court system hasn't even been able to accept new filings. Nobody from the banks, the mortgage companies, the private mortgagers, the landlords have been able to go to court and drop their paperwork yet. So now if we know there's 32% of people who have missed that payment, it's a nightmare waiting to happen. So there's a little graph here, and I just want to underscore that by showing you this graph right here. Here's a graph made by apartmentlist.com, and above here, and I'm going to have to blow this up so you can see it a little bit better. Hopefully, okay, this is good. So they went all the way back to April. They went back and looked at this thing from April, and they surveyed renters and homeowners, and back then in April, it was 24%. Then it became 31%, and now we're at 32%. And then so here in this graph here, let me move my head, they break it down. And so what they broke it down here is no payments versus partial payments. Not that really matters at this point, because partial payments are nothing more than good faith. Banks aren't going to, depending on the amount of the partial payment, aren't really going to care about that. But if you look at these numbers are crazy. This is 32%, as I said, but this number is staying high. It hasn't reduced. Look at the early April. In April, only 12% of the people did no payment at all. Now it was up to 22. Now it's at 19%. And the only reason this went down is because there was a stimulus, and then, of course, there was a lot of reopening. Once things started reopening, people started working. People started, hey, listen, let's dig out of this hole that we're in. But now we're seeing states like California shut down again. We're seeing here in South Florida that the people in Miami are going, hey, we might have to shut down again. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen if we shut down the economy? Do you think this number here, 19, is going to shoot up? Do you think this number of 32% didn't make a payment is going to show just an astronomical rise? You bet your ass. It's going to go up. It has nowhere else to go. In this report here by Channel 6 up in New York City, and I wanted to highlight something here, what they had to say. It's an absolute reflection of the financial stress people are under right now. Adding that missed payment rate is higher among renters, and it's higher among lower income and younger families. So it's hurting the people who can least afford it, meaning a lot of people who are dependent upon the service community. Your janitors, what's going to happen? There's no school. Cafeteria workers, restaurant workers, hospitality people work in hotels. If those are the people, obviously from what they say here, are most affected by the corona shutdowns, those people are going to not be able to continue to pay their rent. It's only going to get worse. What's going to happen? We're just going to have a deluge of homeless people hitting the streets in August, September? Yeah. If nothing's done about this, that's exactly where we're headed. I mean, another report that they did talked about a financial cliff, and the nonprofit counseling agencies who directly work with consumers said, I don't know what lies ahead. I don't know. I can't help you. We don't know. This is uncharted waters. Nobody has seen anything like this. And which tells you I was right, is that if they haven't seen anything like this, this isn't the same as the foreclosure crisis, a decade ago. We are in completely uncharted waters. People are not understanding how dire this is, and it's going to continue to November. They want it to continue to November. They are going to do everything possible to continue this to November, and I think people need to put on the big boy pants and realize, what are we going to do? So as a real estate investor, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm buying up or attempting to buy up as many duplexes and triplexes as I possibly can. You see, here's something that I've seen as well. There's two sides of the coin. There are people who are going to need a place to live, good people in bad situations, and you got landlords who are now falling behind. That's a perfect storm. You got people who are going to need to sell. You got people who are going to need some place to live. I think they called that, when I was in college, supply and demand. It's that simple. So what should you be doing to, dare I say, profit on this scenario? Dare I say, get yourself ready so that you're in position to bank on this, to be greedy while others are fearful? I'm going to tell you, look around for duplexes, triplexes, and quads. I know Grant Cardone said go ahead and buy 400 units. That's suicide right now. That is absolute suicide. Because if 32% of the people that you take in can't pay, then you're number one, you're probably not going to get any mortgage on a 400 unit place because you can't afford it, and the risk and the vacancy, and it's suicide. But with a duplex, triplex, and a quad, forget single families right now. Single families are going to be too risky. The numbers just don't work. If I were to buy a single family right now and want to put somebody into it, I can't get the return I need to make sure it works. You buy a $300,000 house, you put somebody in that can afford $225,000, $2,000 to $2,500 a month, you're not going to make it. It's just not going to happen. And then if they end up not being able to pay and they become part of the 35% that can't pay, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. And now going in, I don't know what kind of people are going to be looking to give mortgages or take out mortgages on single family homes if you intend on doing a buy and hold strategy. But from a duplex or quad or triplex situation, just imagine this. You can pick up a duplex or quad for $300,000 or $400,000, $100,000 per door, and you can now charge $1,500, $1,700, $1,800 per month per unit. That's how we get to the 9% and 10% potential. That's how we're going to get there. That's what we're asking investors who want to invest. And there's a little bit more to the strategy in terms of how we can actually make sure that we're basically eviction proof. We can make sure that when we put somebody in one of these properties, that we know we're going to get our money. And so, over the last 20 years, I've been called a bottom feeder many times. But I've identified something here that not a lot of people are looking at. You're going to have a ton of people looking to start over. Many of them may have cash in the mattress. You remember, because if they haven't been able to do their mortgage payment in full for the last, 4 or 5 months, if you notice, if you look back at this chart here, one of the things I looked at was, here, let me look at this again. 12, 9, 11, 13% have made partial payments. So there's 13%, 11. I guess it comes out to about 11% on average. So out of that 32% who aren't paying, 11 to 12% of them are trying. They're like, hey, listen, I just started working again and I'm trying to make a payment. They're trying to hang on, but it ain't going to work. Unless you've got a really, really lenient landlord that's going to do it for you, it ain't going to work. So what are we doing? What are we doing? We're buying duplexes, quads, and tries. And we're getting good people in bad situations. And we're getting something that makes sure, guaranteed 100%, not even a little guarantee, a full guarantee that we're going to get our money every single month. And on the other side, the flip side, you've got a bunch of landlords who have had to manage these properties, who are mortgaged out, who can't do anything. I mean, there's some deals now we're looking at where people are saying, here's the keys. Just take the keys, I'm out. Do what you can. They can't handle it. So it's a perfect storm. People who need places to live, landlords who need to dump properties. Boom, let's make some money. So if you're a new investor and you wondering how this is done, in your own area, start looking for duplexes, quads, and tries. They're going to be worth their weight in gold. I'm telling you. Some of these places rent for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 900 square foot apartment or side of a duplex or quad, and they're getting like 11, 12, 13, 14, 1500 bucks. That market is wide open. You just got to find the properties. It's not going to get any better. August 2nd, don't wait for it. Don't think that you got time. Sell your property now. And then for those of us who are ready to do something, give me a call. If you want to get involved in learning how you could make 8, 9, 10% on your money, 100% secured, and I say that looking dead in your eye, 100% secured, guaranteed income, give me a call. Everybody else, be careful out there. The Rona is crazy. The hysteria is at least. I'm looking personally to just do as much business as possible. It's something at this point, when I went to go look at this property today, so I saw a property today, and it's amazing what's available. If you get out into the community, take a ride, and see what's going on out there, you're going to see that these people here need your help. And sometimes it's not just a matter of stroking a check to somebody, it's helping them out. And I don't see many business opportunities where you can actually help people at the same time make a substantial profit. That's what we're all about. So I don't know what's going to happen on August 2nd, and I would advise you to be prepared either way, but it's not going to change. Whatever the date is that the moratorium is lifted, within 7 to 10 days, you're going to see people scrambling. It's inevitable. I don't know if you ever worked in the court system or